think I could just take Michelle's message and a song and Yvonne's prayer, and we could just be done this morning.
No.
Just hoping. Thank you, Michelle. So, Ernest Holmes said this. He said, I accept the closeness of my relationship with the presence and all that this means. So my question is, do you, in your everyday existence, do you accept the closeness of your relationship with the presence? And what does this closeness mean to you? What does it mean to you? All that this means. There's a businessman and a motivational speaker, and his name is Jim Rohn, and he famously quoted that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Wow. You know, if my closest relationships are influencing my life to that degree, I don't know about you, but I think I want one of those 5 relationships to be spirit, right? And I realize that I must somehow invest in that relationship, right? But first, let's take a look at, just for a second, the 5 influences in your life. Who do you spend the most time with? So in your programs, there's a little piece of paper and it has a little section on it called notes. And that's where you get your pen, because everybody's got a pen, and your little piece of paper. And I really, literally want you to write down the name of the 5 people with whom you spend the most time. If you don't have a pen in your hand and a piece of paper, we'll wait. There's more programs over here. Write down the 5 people with whom you spend the most time. It could be your spouse. It should be your spouse, I think. But your coworkers, your family members, your neighbors, your friends. When you chunk up your life, who are you spending the most time with? 5 people. And the next question is, next to each name, I want you to write down a word that describes their energy. So how do they feel to you, or how do they make you feel around them? So what word would describe that? Is their energy nervous? Is it bubbly? Is it frightening? Is it fearful? Is it busy? Is it lovely? So what is that energy feeling around that person? And then when you have your list and you feel satisfied with it, I invite you to just put your pen down and just kind of close your eyes for a second. Just going to go in and wait. And I invite you to focus your attention on whatever place it is inside you where you feel connected to the allness of the universe. Just breathe into that space. Let your mind begin to relax and your energy inside kind of begin to expand. Breathe in and bring to your mind the essence of your spiritual self, your highest self. Pay attention to how you feel in this presence, in the presence of the spiritual energy around you. If you pay attention, you can palpably feel it in the room. Notice how you shift inside your own being in this knowing, in this relationship with the presence or the stillness. Feel that. Just sit in that energy just for one more moment. And in that final breath, just bring to mind the word that would describe this feeling. And when you're ready, open your eyes and on your paper, write down your own individual word for God. Whatever that word is. God is called many different things. So what do you call it? The divine, spirit, Allah, life, love, universe, whatever that word is, write that down. Right? Just as you wrote down the names of the people, write down the name for God. And then next to it, capture that spiritual energy with a descriptive word as well. Is the energy of God for you love? Is that what it feels? Does it feel like, is it serenity? Is it peace? Harmony? People have a different word for that. I like the word poise. It feels like poise to me. And it's okay if you choose more than one word. And the point I want to make is however you understand God, whatever word you use to describe that energy, that influences you too. That influences you. Whether you're recognizing it or not, it's influencing you. And I don't know about you, but I want that word to be a major influence. I want it to tip the average. If it's true that the 5 people you spend the most time with, you're an average of that, I want that spiritual energy word to tip that average for me. More than any other person I spend the majority of my time with, any of the 5 people on my list. That's the energy that I want to be in the most, right? You know, I went looking for spirituality so many years ago because that's what I was hungry for. In the presence of all the people in my life, I was missing that essence that we just sat and felt for a minute. I wanted to heal radically my relationship with God. Because around my life, there was a charge around the idea of God. There was some negative energy going on around that. And so I came seeking a way to heal that and to correct that back to a knowing that I had that God was sweet and God was an experience of harmony and love and peace. So let's continue to look for that in our daily lives. And I encourage you to develop a practice of spending time in that spirit relationship, just like we just did. You know, invest enough so that you know that spirit counts as one of your 5. You know, what we're trying to do is cultivate that feeling of God in our lives, that feeling of spiritual energy, that feeling of pure love. And the reason we want to cultivate more spiritual energy is because spiritual energy is what we use to change things. That's what we use. We use this energy to change circumstances, to change our lives, to change our relationships for the better. So let me see if I can explain what I mean by that. You know, we've been talking for weeks about affirmative prayer and spiritual mind treatment. And the purpose of treatment is to change circumstances. We go through the process, we follow the 5 steps, we do all that stuff to get to the place where we can feel that the treatment has worked, that the circumstances have changed. When we believe it, we can feel it. And when we feel it, things change. When we feel it and the change happens inside, we can watch with grateful and anticipation for it to change in the physical form of the world. If we're trying to change things for the better, we're trying to move our feelings from a position of stress or fear or unknowing about something into a feeling of positive knowing, of faith, of belief, of love, of peace. And the more we've practiced resonating at that energy level, the more easily we can get to that in prayer. Because it's that feeling of knowing that we need to change anything we've got going on. The more we practice resonating at that energy level that we just spent a minute in a few moments ago, the more we can use that for ourselves. That spiritual energy is more accessible to us. You see what I'm saying? So if we are moving our consciousness from fear to love, from doubt to faith, from worry to peace, we're literally changing our consciousness towards a deeper awareness of our relationship, our oneness with the all. We're shifting our energy vibration. Thich Nhat Hanh, he's a 91-year-old Vietnamese Buddhist monk, and he's a peace activist. And he's written many books, like 50 books or something. And he wrote this fabulous book called The Energy of Prayer, How to Deepen Your Spiritual Practice. So if prayer is something that, all these talks about it, it's got you thinking and wanting to learn more about it, highly recommend the book. He describes different aspects of prayer and meditation, and I highly recommend it. But this is what he writes. He says, if there is a change in the individual consciousness, then a change in the collective consciousness will take place. When there is a change in the collective consciousness, then the situation of the individual can change. And the situation of our loved one, who is the object of our prayer, can change. Okay? So what I believe is that prayer and meditation change our individual consciousness. And I do agree with Han that when we change our individual consciousness, we have a positive impact on the collective consciousness as well, on the world, on the entire human race. When we change ourselves, we change the world. The only thing that can change our circumstance is a change in consciousness. That's the only, repeat that. The only thing that can change your circumstance is a change in your own consciousness. Or another way of saying that is, we change our consciousness when we change how we think and feel about the circumstance. We change our energy around the circumstance, and the circumstance changes. Ernest Holmes says a treatment is the process of convincing yourself of the truth of what you say. It's nothing else. When you are self-convinced, then you have set forth into mind the power that does everything. The energy that does everything is put out into the law. So, if we've spent time in treatment and convinced ourselves of a new truth, of a new thing in our lives that we've set forth into law, what happens next? What happens next is you start spending time with the 5 people on your list. You've done all this praying, you've changed your mind, and then you go back to your 5 people. And I think that that is the power behind this idea, that the people around us are impacting who we are, because the people around us are influencing our consciousness with their own consciousness. Think about that. So we have this new outlook in our situation. We know something's going to be different and good. And in our awareness, it's done. And it's helpful if the people around us can know that new idea for us. But if the people around us are sitting in struggle, and they're still struggling, and they're heading in the direction of more struggle, that's impacting your new idea. If the people around you are healthy and strong and heading in a direction of positivity, we're being influenced by that as well. If they're worrying, we're swimming in worry. If they are fearful, we're swimming in fear. It's kind of hard to change for the better if the people around us are still sitting in the same energy that got us to where we were in the first place, right? So if we want our lives to change and we want the people we love to have a transformation in their lives, let us lean into the omnipotent spiritual energy. Let us bring the power of prayer, meditation, and communion with God into the circle of our 5 influences. Let us bring that into it. How do we do that? How do we do that? When I was a child, my father really, really liked for us to pray. He really did. He wasn't satisfied with just like tossing out a casual prayer. No, he required that we get on our knees to pray. This was very serious business to my dad. It really was. And he taught me and modeled for me a very different understanding of God than I have now. Remember I said I needed to heal that? Well, yeah, that's where it came from. And I think that there was some wisdom, though, in taking the time to truly connect with Spirit through prayer. Of setting aside some time, of getting serious about it. Thich Nhat Hanh also pointed out in his book about the energy of prayer, he said, when Buddhist or Christian monks and nuns pray, they kneel down, they join their palms, they bow their heads. It is essential for prayer that body, speech, and mind are one, and all are truly present. It is not enough to pray with words. Effective prayer also takes mental and physical concentration. That's what Hanh says. He says, body, speech, and mind are one and truly present. Body, speech, and mind are truly one. Well, I don't think it's completely necessary to like kneel and clasp your hands and bow for an effective prayer. I do agree that a relationship is more powerful when we're fully present in the moment. You know, and I think that's true with our relationship with Spirit, but isn't it true with our people in our lives too? It's really true. You know, if you look at your list of 5 people, you probably feel closer to those people when you are able to be truly present with them. And they're able to be truly present with you. You know, we have our best connections with others when we're in the same physical space. We're not on Facebook with them. We're actually in the room at dinner with them. And actually we put that iPhone in a basket or somewhere away from us. And we talk with them one-on-one and we stay focused with them. You know, because the minute someone picks up their phone or does something else, that connection is broken. Sometimes not completely, but it is broken. I'll tell on the girls and I, we were sitting around last night, and we've been with each other for several days, and Val, I think, was commenting, you know, we're all on our phones. And I think that, you know, she was kind of teasing us, but the truth is that the connection was different when we were all, you know, looking in different directions. So when we were all truly present with each other, we've had some pretty powerful and meaningful connections over the last few days, because that's important in relationships. You know, when I want to share energy with someone, I'll touch them on their arm, or I'll look them right in the eye, and I try to remove all distractions and say whatever it is I want to say. Right? And I try to be fully present, especially if I'm wanting them to have an impact on me, or if I'm wanting to have an impact on them. I want to really, really show up. And I think prayer is the same way. When we're working with spiritual energy or trying to connect with it, I think it's important that we fully show up and be present for it. Thich Nhat Hanh relates to this spiritual energy in this book that he writes, and this is what he wrote. He said, quote, "The other evening when I was practicing sitting meditation, I sent my energy to Sister Dom Nguyen, a nun who is very ill in Hanoi, Vietnam. When we practice compassion, when we meditate with our focus on compassion, then we practice love. This transmission of energy is a form of prayer. Sister Dom enjoyed a remarkable recovery, but that is not the only point. When our heart is full of love, then we are creating more love, peace, and joy in the world. When we send the energy of love and compassion to another person, it doesn't matter if they know we are sending it. The important thing is that the energy is there, and the heart of love is there, and is being sent out into the world. When love and compassion are present in us and we send them outward, then that is truly prayer. In sending love outward, we may notice a change in our own heart. That prayer has begun to have a result inside us, end quote. On rights of sending his energy. And while I know that energy doesn't really go anywhere, literally, I do know that something powerful is present when we hold someone anywhere in the world in a feeling of intentional love or intentional wholeness as a form of prayer. It's powerful for others, but it's also powerful for ourselves as the one doing the praying or the energy holding. We notice a change in our own heart as we spend time in the spiritual energy of compassion and love. And while we may be intending something good for someone else out there that we care about, actually creating more good within ourselves and for ourselves. And remember, as our consciousness shifts and changes, we naturally impact the collective consciousness. So let me return to my quote at the beginning of the talk. It said, I accept the closeness of my relationship with the presence and all that this means. My closeness with the presence means that I spend greater time cultivating my relationship with my highest self. It means that as I pray for others, I'm working on my own consciousness and my own awareness of the love that I am, the peace that is available in all things. I'm becoming more aware of that. This relationship means that I am constantly working with spiritual law to align myself to greater wholeness and to align everyone else for greater wholeness as well. I'm influencing the consciousness of others in a positive way. So look again at your list. Look at your list. Guess what? If they made a list, you were probably going to be on theirs too. You're one of their 5 people likely too. And the more you lean into your relationship with Spirit, the more positive your influence is going to be in their lives. And chances are the people that are on your list are people that you love and care about. Hopefully, if you're spending a whole lot of time with them, you love and care about them. So the better your relationship with your own spiritual energy, the better off you're going to be in relating to them and influencing them. The more positively you lean into Spirit, the more positive your influence. Follow Thich Nhat Hanh's example and send these 5 people your energy. Know for them compassion and love and peace. And as Michelle's saying, shower the people you love with love. Take them into your prayers and treat for their highest and best. And know that divine right action occurs in all of their circumstances. You bring your relationship with Spirit or God or whatever you call it into your relationship with everyone you influence. And know with confidence that as you deepen your connection with the presence, it will mean beautiful things for you personally and for at least 5